Hello, thank you for joining us today on behalf of T21 Foundation. I am here with the Navarro family to get a little more insight on what it was like growing up with a sibling with a disability.
I'm Jamie, 17 years old.
I'm Karima, I'm 14 years old.
And we're siblings of Christian, has cerebral palsy, epilepsy, and autism, and he's 22 years old.
All right, so I have a couple questions. The first question is, what were your thoughts when you were told that Christian had a disability?
In my case, I was born after him, so I just grew up with already knowing his disability. And for me, it was just more like a normal thing until I did get to school. It was more like not everybody has a sibling like this, but it was more of a normal thing for me.
For me, it was also normal since we grew up with it until I got to school and I was being told that my brother needed special help and he had special needs. And I think that's what made it.
Did you ever at any point feel ignored or jealous of the attention that your brother required due to his condition?
I wouldn't say jealous nor ignored, because I feel like since I grew up, I always understood that he needed more attention, and it was just something normal for me. It was something that we all knew that he needed it, and eventually we all had each other. So it was I wasn't really ignored, but it was at the end of the day, it was you can tell that there was more attention towards him, and for us it was normal. It was okay.
I would say I never felt jealous because I knew the attention for him was a necessity because he needed more stuff than us. So I would say I didn't get jealous or ignored.
Okay. So growing up, you mentioned that you had some friends at school ask you about it. So at any time, did you ever feel ashamed of Christian's condition when people asked you?
No, I don't believe I've ever felt shame, but I did, in my own self, did question, why did that sounds wrong, but it's kind of why do we have something like this? But not because other people made me feel like that, but because if I would go visit a friend's house or something, you don't see that type of thing. And you know that living with a kid with disabilities, it's way much different. It's more we're kind of like a loud house, we're kind of we're all loud, so it's kind of when you go to another family, you see it's quiet, everybody in their own rooms, and I'm I took a step back, and I was oh. It made me realize how grateful I am for my brothers, you know?
I was never really ashamed of my brother because I knew what he was going through. So that just puts more on him if you're ashamed of him. And I always tried my best to defend him when other kids would say comments about him. So I don't believe I was ever ashamed of his disabilities.
What would you say are some of the challenges or positive benefits of having your brother with a disability?
So I'll start with the positive. The positive side is it made me grow up and mature faster. So because of that, I am the way I am, and the way I can handle things or talk to adults or be more involved with things that other kids my own age or her age aren't usually, So when that's a positive side, and that benefits me because now when I'm older and I go out to the real life, it's easier for me to talk to people. It's easier for me to is there a situation, I know how to figure it out because it's always a problem solving situations that I learned and things like that. One negative side, it's more we know that there's certain things due to my brother we can't do, and there's things, and as kids, I would be man, why can't I do it? But it's kind of I would be oh, I understand why I can't do it. And it's it benefits me because I think that I know how to put myself limits now that as I'm older. I know how to put myself limits, and I know that it benefits me.
Some positives is that it made me less arrogant in my opinions on other people because most people are so quick to judge about when they see someone having a crisis or something. But having a brother made me learn that they can't control that stuff. And that sometimes it just happens. And the positive side is that having a brother with disability lets us give more representation for people our age to help more in that situation.
No, yeah, I definitely agree and can relate. Growing up as a teenager or adult, Have you felt differently because you had to take on responsibilities that your friends did not necessarily have?
Yes. Like I said, back to the question, I did have to mature a lot more quicker because my brother, due to his disabilities, he was usually his young years, like he was in the hospital in and out. So that made me like one of the oldest to take care of my siblings and have that responsibility, carry that responsibility. And it was way different than my friends. But like I said, it did better me. It did make me the person I am today. And yeah.
Yes, because like she said, we have to mature a lot quicker than most people our age do. Because like certain situations happen where like, oh, your parents can't take care of you, so you have to. And in those certain situations, like, yes, it does.
Right.